The Walking Dead. I haven't seen the show. I love zombies, don't get me wrong, but I've not seen the show. Uh, Either of them. I Fear the Walking Dead is a completely different show from what I understand. Um, but I have played Telltale's video game, at least the first two episodes. Not first two seasons, first two episodes of the first season. And I hate it. Hate. Hate. But that's not the point of this show. Um, so I'm going to read the first few volumes, first collection of volumes. There's actual. This one's actually interesting because it looks like the entire run of The Walking Dead is available on Comixology Unlimited. In the interest of time, I'm only planning to read the first collection, so 4 or 5 issues. Um, Maybe if I find it really compelling, I'll read more than that. But the plan is to read a couple issues here and see what I think. The reason I didn't like the game was just the the game itself. It really had nothing to do with the story, and the game doesn't follow the story of the comic or the show, so far as I'm aware. So, Walking Dead. Let's see how it is. Um, hmm. Alright, I read the first collection, which is 6 issues, and it's okay. Um, hmm. Well, the art is nice. Um, the dialogue is a little beat you over the head. It's some of the exposition is clunky, is what I mean to say. For example, the main it goes full 28 days later, where our protagonist wakes up in the hospital from a coma, and the world has gone to heck because zombies. And he moseys on down to Atlanta from wherever he is, about 5 hours north. And he gets a horse, and he's riding the horse down the road, and he says, "What's that, girl? I should talk about the best day of my life? Golly, that would help pass the time. I met my wife, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, wow, that was clunky. There's a lot of really clunky dialogue like that. I mean, expositional dialogue. Dialogue that's meant to explain to you who people are, where they're coming from, what they're thinking, how much time has passed since a certain event, but it's the author just couldn't seem to come up with a natural way to get some of that across, unfortunately. It doesn't really hurt the book. It's just clunky in areas. So, typical zombies. These are the kind that seem to eat anything living, not just humans, not just brains. They just munch whatever's living. There's also a part in the book where they say maybe they never attack each other, so maybe it's the smell. So our hero and another guy who I think might actually be a character who was in the game briefly, who just kind of ups and leaves. It's like, well, I'm getting in my car and leaving. I guess this is where he goes. Glenn, I think his name is. I totally lost my train of thought. So they get a dead zombie, and they chop it up and stick pieces in their pockets and rub zombie guts all over them, and that works. The rest of the zombies just leave them alone until it immediately starts pouring rain. I'm like, that feels a bit contrived, but whatevs. I mean, it's just completely sudden. There's no, oh, we better hurry because them clouds. Just suddenly rain, torrential downpour washes off the smell. Oh gosh, the zombies are after us. And I'll be interested to see if this ever comes up in the book again. I don't know if I'll ever actually read past this. I might. On my own time. I saw a show called High School of the Dead, which was a fun show. But there's a bit in the beginning where they find out that zombies identify you by sound. They can't see you, they can't smell you, they can hear you. So there's a part where they try to escape the high school by sneaking out, and then someone accidentally, bonks a metal railing, and it goes bong, and zombies are brains, and shenanigans ensue. That's episode 6 or 7 or whatever. The weird thing is, though, is that's never brought up in the show again. It's like the authors of the show went, well, that's too easy. All they have to do is stay quiet. Let's brush that under the rug. Hope no one remembers it. And there's places throughout the rest of the show where you're like, just be quiet. Just be quiet. It's literally that simple. Unfortunately, it doesn't make for a very interesting show if you could just be quiet. So I actually kind of want to read ahead and maybe a couple more issues to see if you're invisible to zombies if you smell like one is something that comes up again, or if it's something that's forgotten. I like zombies as an antagonist. I like survival stories like Robinson Crusoe. I like stories of people figuring out how to survive. I like stories of people banding together and working stuff out. It's what makes Tremors so much damn fun. Is you have these people who are facing man-eating underground worms, and they work together and use their heads to figure out how to survive this incredible situation. And it's what made the television show a lot of fun. The television show, Tremors, the TV series, very underrated. I pick up the DVD set. It's a fun watch. What often annoys me, or doesn't entertain me as much about, especially zombie films, is a lot of them focus on the clash between the people. Most of the bad guys, the worst enemies in zombie movies, are us. We are our own worst enemy. And sometimes I just find that frustrating. Maybe I'm just kind of a can't we all just get along kind of guy. I mean, the world has gone to hell and zombies are trying to eat us. Maybe we could put aside our petty differences in this case, right? Right. And the book, or the first few issues, start off with Rick, our hero, goes to Atlanta looking for his wife and kid, thinking, oh man, maybe they went to her parents in Atlanta. So he heads down there, almost get eaten, gets saved by a guy who brings it back to camp where his wife and kid happen to be. Wow. And his partner, who was in the prologue of the book. Wow. Fortune smiles down upon thee, Rick. Alright, cool. And at first, everything's fine. But there's early there are the seeds of, Rick's buddy Shane slept with his wife. And seems to think that, well, he's got a big crush on her. And now that Rick's back, but she's mine. And he doesn't deal with that very well. To the point where he actually points a gun at Rick at the end of this series of issues. And seems like he's generally going to shoot this guy. Like, that's going to endear her to you, you dickhead. It looks like this is going to be a series that's less about how do we survive the zombie apocalypse and more about can we survive each other. And you can have great stories grow out of that premise, that idea. And there are a lot of stories that do that I really like. That's not the kind of story that I really like right now. And that's probably because where we are right now in 2016, in the course of human history, with just all kinds of bickering and sniping at each other, all the unpleasantness that you see around, it's like, I don't need that crap in my entertainment. That's just not what I want to see. I'd rather, right now, if life were peaches and cream, I'd probably appreciate stories about people not being able to work together more. But since people can't work together in a lot of cases today, it's like I get enough of that when I go on Twitter. I'm not as entertained by that kind of story right now. Now, granted, that this Walking Dead started years ago, so I don't hold that against the story. It's just, I don't know. A group of people getting together to survive something that's a problem for them all, and just not being able to put aside their petty differences to deal with that annoys me. So, but still, that said, aside from some clunky dialogue and a few, well, that's a coincidence type of story beats, not a bad first 6 issues. What is it? Yeah, if I finish this project with enough time on my Comixology free trial, I may actually read a few more issues of The Walking Dead and see where it goes and see if I want to follow. So those are my thoughts on the opening issues of The Walking Dead. Tomorrow's another comic. See you then.